Greta. Hi. Good afternoon. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Adriana. Dean. Happy Friday. Some of you are probably at work or should be at work. I don't know. It's called We're All Retired. I don't know. It's a gorgeous day out. I don't know why I am spending this entire day inside. So you get to see baby Sarah. Sure, she's right in the beanbag behind me with Gwen. She might start screaming at any second, so you might get more than you bargained for. Oh, come here, you. Hi. You want to come scream for people? Who's that baby? Who's that baby? Say, I've been having a scream fest off and on. Yes, I have. It's been very difficult for Mama to get work done. It has. And the hair that you got left is starting to get curly. Say hi. Say hi. You know, could you have strong legs? Oh, hiccups. Hiccups always. What's with the crazy hair? You gonna have crazy hair like Grandma? I think so. Yeah, you're a doll when you smile. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you smile. Yeah, you're looking for Mama. Who's that baby? Who's that baby? You see that baby? Okay. Say bye. Okay. So Gabby is in love with the baby, or she just likes to sleep on the baby. I'm not sure which, but it's been really good with her. Holy cow, so cute. That's not the face that would have a scream fest. Oh my gosh. Gwen and Brandon went to the barn last night and left me with her. And she was so cute, and she was so sweet, and she was cooing and giggling and smiling, and then all of a sudden it was just like, bah! And you know, Hugh and I were in the living room with her, and Hugh made a beeline to the kitchen to start cooking dinner. He's like, see ya. He gets upset when she cries. Hiccups followed by barf. No, she really doesn't barf much. That's a good thing. So we promised you that we would come on and talk about Chinese herbs, and I'm pretty sure we promised we would do it yesterday, and then yesterday really got away from us. It is amazing. I've been trying to help Gwen and Brandon catch up in the warehouse because that little bundle of joy requires being in someone's arms pretty much all the time. So they have half as much labor power, and she sleeps about an hour a day. So it's been a little difficult for them. So I have 9 Chinese herbs that we have on the website. I'll start. We'll see how far we get through. I don't want to be on here for an hour. So we'll see. But I just wanted to give you a little bit better explanation. I know we put descriptions on the website, but sometimes if you hear it in person and you can go back and look at the video, it can make it a little bit easier. So one of them is called For Gentlemen. So this is like doing the thing in the mirror. Si Jun Zi Tang or Si Jun Zi Wan. And this one is really good for those senior dogs that have loose stools, poor digestion, weakness, fatigue, muscle atrophy. So these are the older dogs that are really just slowing down, don't have energy left much anymore, maybe having a little more trouble digesting. These might be the ones that we are doing that. See? There she goes. That slow cooked food in the slow cooker, and then running it through the blender, maybe adding some digestive enzymes. This really helps those guys that are really starting to wind down a little bit. It's actually really good support for athletic animals. This can be used in dogs, cats, or people. Really good for athletic animals who are, really just going all out all the time and are starting to get muscle fatigue. So it basically helps strengthen the spleen and stomach. So this is for the earth element, and it doesn't mean your dog has to be an earth to take this, but it's for support of the earth element. Remember, the spleen and stomach are responsible for taking the food that we eat and making it into good muscle. Spleen is responsible for muscle. So when we're seeing all that muscle atrophy, this is something that is really good for them. So it strengthens chi or energy and really supports that digestive system to make good muscle and more energy. Okay. This dosing on all of the T-pills is 1 per 10 pounds of body weight, and they work much better if you crack them, so get a pill crusher if you don't have one. People tell me they try to crush them between 2 spoons, and what will happen is you're going to have them pinging all over your kitchen. I know they do have the cutest names. This particular one should be fine with elevated liver enzymes. So this one actually has licorice in it. Licorice is used very commonly as a harmonizing agent, and so you'll see that in a lot of the tea pills. It's glycyrrhiza is licorice. It has poria, which is a mushroom, because that helps drain that dampness that the spleen doesn't like. It has atractylodes, which is good for immune support, and codonopsis, which is also good for immune support, but also for digestion. Okay. So along those same lines, let's stick in the digestive. We have Shenling Baiju. There we go. I'm telling you, it's working in a mirror. This one happens to be a tablet instead of a tea pill, so it's going to be a lot easier to crush. This one is used for the cold diarrheas. So these are the dogs that are not digesting their food well. So again, it might be an older animal. These are the ones that you see the undigested grains. If you're feeding barley or grains, and even if they should be cooked, but if you're seeing things come out whole on loose stools at the other end, that's what this is for. So this is a spleen key support. So it's warming for the digestive tract and helps with the spleen qi as well. So this is generally going to be tending toward the old cold dogs, but a cold diarrhea, if you remember from the book, doesn't have a whole lot of odor, and it's got undigested food in it. So sort of the opposite of the Shenling for the cold diarrhea, we have the Coptis, which is for the hot diarrhea. So animals with colitis, people with colitis. Coptis in human studies has been shown to be just as effective or more effective than metronidazole. And we know that metronidazole long-term is not good. Metronidazole can have severe side effects, bone marrow suppression, neurotoxic effects. So we don't want to keep our animals on metronidazole long term. If you're using it every now and then for a couple of days, that's fine. But if you have a pet with IBD, chronic colitis, nervous colitis, you do not want to be giving them metronidazole all the time. This is a great solution to that. Shayna gets nervous when we go camping, so we will start her on something like this 24 hours before we go. So if you have dogs that get diarrhea after going to the groomer, dogs that get diarrhea after being boarded, whatever that case may be, if it's a hot diarrhea with mucus or blood and a foul odor, that's what that one is for. Okay. Yes, and you can use it as needed. None of these have to be used long term, but when we're strengthening the first two, the Shenling and the 4 gentlemen, those are going to be old dogs that are, or animals that are more depleted. So with something like that, where we're trying to tonify and strengthen, a lot of times it can be long-term use or longer term, and something like this where we're trying to cool them off. Now I do have, it's really interesting, I've had quite a few young golden retrievers that get a really hot diarrhea very easily, and in the summer they get so much worse. And so we start them on the full dose and we wean them down and we find what's the lowest. So I might have a 60-pound dog who only needs one of these a day or one twice a day, and then when the weather gets hot and humid or they're undergoing a stressful situation, then they have to go up. So you just have to watch. If you used it full strength for a very long period of time, you could actually switch the dog over and make them too cold, and then you might end up then having to rebalance for that. So it is used to effect. Okay. But yes, you can absolutely use it, for a day or two at a time. All right, let's see. We have to, oh yeah. So this one, all right, we'll continue on our digestive one. Okay. Free and Easy Wanderer is Xiao Yao San. She liked that one. Xiao Yao San is the liver spleen disharmony. That is a much trickier diagnosis to make. But these are the ones who kind of get that liver qi stagnation And because they're frustrated, they're going to have that purple tongue. They may be acting out a little bit. This is going to be more the wood personality animals, but they're getting diarrhea and they may get some vomiting, but it's because their liver chi is kind of overriding everything else. And so these are going to be hot animals generally with some stagnation. So that one's a little trickier. That might be one of those where, we have to have a conversation to figure that one out. It's not quite as straightforward to figure out a liver spleen disharmony because we're talking about two different systems kind of interacting with each other. Valhewan, this is one of my favorites. I use this one a ton. This is for food stagnation. And these animals, it's really interesting. I see this a ton in standard poodles, but I've seen it in a lot of other animals as well. So people will send me an email or we'll do a consultation and they'll say, my dog's teeth are beautiful. His breath is horrible. And I took him to my vet. The vet said, no, he doesn't need a dental cleaning. His teeth are beautiful. They're bright white, shiny. Why is his breath so bad? When we get food stagnation, a lot of times these animals don't want to eat very well. You offer them food and they're like, not really that hungry, but they're full of energy. They're acting fine otherwise. They have foul breath because what's happening is the food is not passing out of the stomach. When we or our pets eat, the food should leave the stomach and be completely out of there within a few hours. These are the animals that you feed them dinner at 5:30 and 1:30 in the morning, they puke up their whole dinner undigested. Or they just kind of sit up and go, bleh, and we get that undigested food coming back up. And that food sitting there fermenting in the stomach causes a very foul odor. So you get this really foul breath. And so that's a huge key for me when I'm doing these consultations where people are saying, well, he just doesn't have a great appetite. He'll eat really well. And then it takes 2 more days before he wants to eat again. His breath is terrible. And if he does vomit or regurgitate, it's undigested food. This has been very effective for those guys. There you go. Neely says, great for mega E dogs, mega esophagus dogs. Is that all my, yes, I think that's all my GI stuff. Notice we have a lot of GI stuff because the earth system, the spleen, stomach, digestion, remember food is the foundation of life. Well, if you can't digest your food, everything else goes downhill from there. So it really is all about digestion. So we had 4 gentlemen. That one was for those old, weak dogs that have muscle fatigue, poor muscle. Well, we also have 4 substances. So you want to make sure you know which is which. The 4 substances is Siwu Tong or Siwu Wan. This one is for those blood deficient dogs or anemic dogs. So if you have a dog with hemolytic anemia, this will rebuild the red blood cells amazingly. You get a flea infestation, your pets get anemic, this rebuilds the red blood cells amazingly well. But a lot of consultations that I do for itching, the animal will have a pale, dry tongue and dry, flaky skin. That dry flake and the pale tongue, that's a blood deficiency. It's a liver blood deficiency. The 4 substances, the Siwu Tong, is great at building that back up. So it'll decrease eating, decrease dryness. It'll decrease the flaking, and it will help with the anemia. So it'll decrease the itching. And so I use this one a lot as well. As a matter of fact, Shayna and George both were anemic on their lab work a couple of months ago. I put them on this, and within 3 weeks, their red blood cell counts were right back up to normal. I don't know why they were anemic, but they were. And this brought them right back up. So I like that one a lot. Generally, that's not one that you need to use long term, but if you have a dog who suffers from hemolytic anemia, you've got to do something to get those red blood cells back up other than just transfusing. And I've saved a lot of dogs with this. Okay, Abundant Chi. This one is for immune support. So Dr. Shea at Jingtang Herbal has one called Wei Qi Booster. And we use Wei Qi Booster a lot for our pets with cancer, where we're really trying to even out that immune system, and we're trying to help them fight off disease. So this has Codonopsis and Astragalus. If you'll remember, those 2 were off, although the Codonopsis and Atraculotes was in the 4 gentlemen, because we're trying to, Qi is your, it's energy, but we need defensive energy to fight off infections. and fight off viral problems, bacterial problems. So this is really good for animals that are fighting cancer, or for animals with an immune system that's really out of whack, to try to smooth that out. It could be used with the plant sterols, yes. Okay. We were talking about itching, so we have the Great Windkeeper, Xiaofangwan. This one's very popular for allergy dogs and cats. Extremely popular in Chinese medicine. Wind is the shaking of the leaves in the trees. Well, what does this look like? Looks like a dog scratching. It also is seizures. This particular formula is not really a seizure formula as much as it's an allergy and itch formula. And for some animals, no, the plum flower, which is, we get them from Mayway, very, very high quality company that does testing. So yes, they are from China, but the good herbs actually are made in China for the most part. And that's where the Chinese herbalists are pretty much. For meningitis, I would not use this particular one. For meningitis, we have things that are a little more specific. We put 9 herbs on our website. If we really wanted to go crazy, we could put 10 to 20,000. What we did was we picked the ones that I have most commonly used in practice. There's others, but we started with a small batch and decided that we would see how it went and then go from there. The problem with Chinese herbs is they're very specific. You don't want to use a cold formula on a cold dog, you'll make them worse. You don't want to use a hot formula on a hot dog, you'll make them worse. So that's why we're trying to explain what each one does and who you would use it for. The Great Windkeeper, they're generally going to be hotter dogs just because they've got allergies and that's an inflammatory process, but not always. I mean, this one is specifically for the itching. All right, and then this last one, stasis in the mansion of the blood. Now we also have a stasis in the mansion of the brain for animals with brain tumors or stagnation in the head. But the stagnation in the mansion of the blood is Juefu Shu Yutang, and this one can also be used in heart failure because it stimulates blood flow and gets things moving, reduces stagnation. The main thing that I use this one for, this formula is in every animal that I see with a mast cell tumor diagnosis, because this is very good at going to those masses that are in the skin. It also will work for stagnation inside the body, but it is awesome for mast cell tumors. So we will definitely use this for those dogs or cats. We don't see mast cell near as often in cats. We do once in a while. But this could be used if your dog that has heart disease has taken the next step and has gone into congestive heart failure. This can be very helpful for that as well. So it's stasis in the mansion of the blood. If you think about it, stasis in the mansion of the blood. So the blood is the blood flow. So it could be heart, arteries, veins, but blood not flowing as well as it should. And remember, tumors, lumps and bumps, they're stagnation. That's where everything got stuck. So that helps move it along. All right, that is quick, down and dirty, 15 minutes of herbs. How do you tell if your dog would need the one because they have a purple tongue, if their tongue is naturally purple? Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you have Shar-Peis. Shar-Peis chows really hard, because their tongues don't follow the normal pink rules. The one for the liver spleen disharmony, the Xiao San. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if a Shar-Pei had that, because they tend to get some liver T stagnation, and then if we've got diarrhea secondary to that, you might be able to see a difference in the because the stagnation in the purple is usually, if it's liver T, is going to be in the center of the tongue. So that would be a place to look. Using raw food for your girl, but hard to, yes, all these are on the website, and the descriptions under each one are there. Hard to travel with the raw, so use freeze-dried. We travel with freeze-dried. That's what we, even though Gwen has freezer space, we brought freeze-dried with us for this trip, so it's just easier. Is the Great Windkeeper safe for daily use year-round? Dogs' allergies are year-round, a lot of grass and weed allergies. You can use it year-round, but you know, if it's environmental allergies, you still should get a break at some point in the year. And I guess if you live in the South where it never gets really cold, might be a problem. Let them know what.
If they're a client, they need custom herbs.
Oh, yeah. So for those of you who have done phone consultations or consultations in person in the past, and you need herbal refills from consultations that we've done, just contact us. Contact one through the office, through the website, the drjudymorgan.com, and we can still supply any custom order herbs as well. And for those of you who do consultations, if we need custom herbs, we will just order them and ship them directly to you. So, okay. What about when they go pale off and on, almost no pink at all? So, Gina, I would wonder if there's something going on inside that's causing that paleness, because they really shouldn't. My dogs don't. Shayna did once, but we thought she was going to die in that 5 minutes. So, okay. No music. I don't have Hugh. He's out at the farm playing with fencing today. Lucky him, because it's 75 and sunny, and Gwen and I are at the office working. What's up with that? Okay. Everybody have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.